I knock people out, they don't fucking move. Who the fuck is that guy? Oh, don't be scared, homie.
Welcome to Throwing Hands.
You got you're playing touch butt with that dork in the park, the ponytail.
My balls are hot.
It's time for another Throwing Hands podcast. What's up, all you sour boys, sour society, and sour sallies in the sour society? This is another episode of Throwing Hands podcast. Throwing Hands, where we're here to judge the craziness, the bullshit, and the octagon control. Yes, it is your second favorite MMA podcast, where we talk about all the MMA pop culture, MMA stuff that's going on in the world, all things MMA, not just UFC. Because we like to not just talk stats here. We like to bullshit. It's usually easier for me to bullshit when I have people around me, people that are part of this podcast, people that have schedules with this podcast, people that can just easily just pick up a microphone. But it's just me today because we had some cancels. Rick, while you're watching. Stuart, while you're not watching. So a couple things. It's the start of September, thank God. Down here it means absolutely almost nothing except for that we're just getting a little bit closer to cold weather. But everywhere else, enjoy your somewhat cold weather except for the global warming that's making it much hotter than maybe what it could be, but still just enjoy the fact that you are definitely at this point in a much cooler weather climate than we are. Still over 100 degrees every day, no big deal. But happy September to everybody, and happy fight week again because the fights are back. We're back from a hiatus of last week's fight, no fights, and we're going to come back this week with Ciro Gagne. It's a seal, sir. A seal Tyree. All right. ACL tear. We'll cut that in on what that a joke is. What that a joke is.
It's pronounced a seal, sir. A seal Tyree. ACL tear. Got it.
And so that's it's Ciro Gagne versus why did that name slip me? Tai Tuivasa. As we talked about on the recent Throwing Hands, he is coming around on this podcast for us. We are starting to like Tai Tuivasa here. We're not fans of the sloppy heavyweight here, but we're starting to turn around because, as we've said before, it's just a heavyweight division is not something to really brag about or to hold to a prestigious standard. So honestly, if it just wants to be a bunch of drunk assholes knocking out these dudes who work their hearts out to make their body a perfect physique for over 225 pounds. Sure. I mean, it's a what would you call that? It is an anomaly at this point. So for what little has gone on during this fight week, we've got, as always, some videos to react to, a street fight video to react to, and the news that's gone on. So let's start by talking about one of my favorite topics, Jake Paul, Logan Paul. Jake Paul, big news with him, just signed a fight with Anderson Silva. He is going to be boxing with Anderson Silva, I assume in Vegas, which is basically Anderson's home at this point. I don't even think he speaks Brazilian anymore. But what's funny, what Jake's got to look out for in this fight is Anderson's ability to do this thing where he will completely ignore the rules and then go, suddenly there is a language barrier now. Suddenly he didn't understand all the things the refs and the commission and everybody told him leading up to that fight. He does that a lot, like flying knees to the face while there's a stoppage, like kicking somebody in the face while there's a stoppage, like completely doing something 100% illegal and then just going, oh, my bad. Who's going to win that fight, Jake Paul or Anderson Silva? Jake Paul. Jake Paul's going to win that fight. Jake Paul's younger. He's stronger. He is not the more experienced of anything that they do. But look at it one of two ways. Jake Paul either fixes the fight like everybody thinks he does, or Jake Paul goes out there and outclasses Anderson Silva, which at this point, Jared Cannonier's done it, Chris Weidman's done it, DC's done it. It's like outclassing Fedor Emelianenko at this point. Maybe 10 years ago that would have been something super cool, but at this point, it's just finally like, what's a name that Jake Paul was gonna pick from that wanted to fight him, and that's a pretty. All of us just go, not bad. That's pretty good. Yeah. So check out that fight on October 29th. And shouts out to producer Reese, who wrote out some really nice notes here. It's supposed to be incognitus, but I mean, look at that. So thanks for doing that. It makes it really easy. But that date is hearsay right now. That is the set date, but you know how things go with Jake and his fighters, the people who fight. Anderson Silva's what's gonna happen is they're gonna shake hands and be like, so we're fighting at 2:05, right? Cool. And then Anderson's gonna come in at 2:30 and be like, what happened? No, it's normal. It's normal. I lose. And then of course the other Paul brother in the news right now. Not for any fight. Logan right now is hitting his he's just hitting one of his strides. He's in the WWE, so he kind of really can't do other boxing, or maybe he can. They can kind of do whatever they want. But he launched, maybe you guys already know about this, a new drink, a hydration drink. I don't think it's an energy drink, called Prime. Is it Prime Energy or is it just Prime Hydration? Okay, Prime Hydration. It's a company by Logan Paul. Jake Paul apparently has something to do with it, but you know, no way. It's by KSI.
Yeah, you know them?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Good for him. Good for all of them. Good for everybody involved in this. So, I've only seen, like, you know, they put up clips on Logan's, like, from his podcast of like, yeah, so your boy's going to try to get some Prime Hydration. Apparently it's available everywhere. You'll see it on the podcast soon. Shouts out Logan and Jake Paul. Give us money. We'll promote your stuff here. I promote your stuff for free already as it is. They're like, yeah, why would we give you money now? Well, I'm going to stop from here on out. You heard it here first on Throwing Hands. We're done promoting Jake and Logan Paul.
I won't come out with my conspiracy video if you guys...
I don't know where she's going with this, but just promote us. And now for our next few MMA topics, we'll be switching to a video portion of the podcast. First up, as Rick recommended, I was trying to catch up on some Dana White's Contender Series when it came out, and I was not very successful, but they did put out some highlights. And did y'all see that power bomb? I'm probably super late on this, but that power bomb, it's gonna be playing below here. My man's got him in a very awkward position, and he just says, fuck it, I know if I don't drop him on his head right here, I can power bomb him. So he does. They end up in a 69 position. It's called north-south, but it's 69. So they end up in 69, and then they're just kind of hanging out there, and then my man taps because his shoulder's out of place. That's how you win. That's how you win with a fuck it mentality. Fuck it. That's a bad position. How do you get out of a horrible position in grappling or in MMA? Fuck it. That's how you get out of it. That's the only way. Or tap. That you have one of two options. And fuck it might break your arm. Okay. Yeah, well, so I'll be keeping up for a lot more of those. We can't really play too much of those highlights because they're too long, but check out the next week's episode of Throwing Hands. We'll be talking about not only the fight card, but definitely the next Dana White Contender Series. Sean Strickland. We like Sean Strickland around here. Sean Strickland, middleweight. Let me read Reese's stats here. Sean Strickland, middleweight division, 31 years old, 6'1", 185 pounds. That would be middleweight. He's a brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and a former King of the Cage middleweight champion. That part I didn't know. I didn't know he was King of the Cage rules. So here's a video of Sean Strickland sparring with a partner. I don't know how old this is because he says he's got an upcoming fight, but I don't know when he's fighting next. So let's cut to that.
How the fuck is it dirty? You talk all that shit telling us I don't belong here, and then you fucking get mad because I did a quick little submission?
No, first of all, it's fuck with you. You try to hurt me. Different shit.
Oh, come on. Come on, motherfucker. The fuck?
Why, bro? Why?
Whoa.
Why? Get away from me.
Whoa, bro.
Get away.
What's your problem, bro?
No, what the fuck, man? Why, dude?
Why what?
You're right. You seen that, bro. You fucking know what you did.
What happened, Mo?
You know what you fucking did.
Did what?
What you do?
What'd I do?
You know what you did. You
What'd I
seen
do?
it. Did you see that shit?
Did
Did you see that shit? No, you were a fucking dick, dude.
What happened?
Like this.
No, dude, it was a fucking dick move, dude.
Dude, how the fuck is it dick when it's grappling? It's fucking
Watch the
grappling.
video. Watch
Like
the video.
this. Boom.
Yeah, that's a fucking dick move.
How is it a fucking dick dick move. That's a submission.
Come on, let's go.
That's a submission, bro.
Let's
Go
go.
without it.
No, it's
Don't
okay.
do that.
Bro,
Don't
that's
do that.
dick. Why the fuck you put this shit?
I got a fucking fight coming up, bro. And you're trying to do
My
a
arm
hyper
fucking
spinning arm.
So that was crazy. But whoever, I don't know the guy. We'll call him Big Boy. Big Boy threw that crazy, what he was saying was a submission. And look, do I fault the guy for doing that to Sean Strickland? Yes. Do I fault Sean Strickland for getting upset? No, but man, he just wouldn't let it go. You know, there's one of those things where choose, fight right there in the sparring octagon or just let it go. And it was weird. They like wanted to get back into sparring, but he also didn't want to get back into sparring. It's very weird. But that is true. Like, you can't, that is a very random submission to just be thrown out. And it's a weird talk, right? Because we're sparring. I'm trying to help you. This is something that somebody could do to you. But if it's not even talked about a little bit about, hey, did you know that from the clinch you could do this? Like, that's something that you show somebody. And then that while you're sparring, you try to throw it on them to let them know, like, hey, this is how it works. So at least they're a little aware. But do I think that move would have like broken Sean Strickland's arm? No. Do I think that the move would have injured him? Yeah, I think he could have probably sprained his shit a little bit. And he threw it real heavy. And that guy's like definitely over 230 pounds. Definitely over 230 pounds. So that guy whipping in his arm like that real quick and bending in, I mean, yeah, it's too much force. But, you know, I'm going to assume, because we don't have any further story on that, I'm going to assume that Sean lit him up in the rest of the sparring rounds if he did. That's wild. From somebody who trains jiu-jitsu, being a sparring partner is very difficult. And it's only difficult if you're not willing to communicate with your partner. And sometimes being a sparring partner with somebody doesn't work out. You know, you think that even if you communicate these things, they're just not down for going light or going hard. And that's when you just got to be like, talk to the coach, talk to whoever, and be like, I need somebody else, man. But don't hurt somebody else just because you don't want to communicate with somebody. You know, don't hurt people. It's not cool, bro. Unless, of course, you cut me off at the light. Then we trying to hurt people. Unless, of course, you honk at me when I did nothing wrong. Then hurt people. Unless, of course, you're in the crowd at Woodstock 99. Then break stuff and hurt people. And for this last video in our video portion of the MMA podcast, we have Nate Diaz being a real-ass dude as always. And we're going to cut to that.
This man won't get out of my house because I didn't give him enough piss. I pissed all I can, my nigga. How many liters do I gotta do? Liters? 2 more. I got 2 more liters of piss I gotta give him, and he won't get out of here until DK my guy, but you saw it could fucking suck a dick. Come back in 6 hours, I'll give you 2 more. 2 more what? Liters? Milliliters? Liters? Sorry, DK. Wanted that.
I mean, can you say any louder that the UFC is making a horrible mistake but not giving Nate everything that he wants and asks for? He is literally, for anybody who's listening to the podcast, he is in his house. It feels like Nate and Nick Diaz live with like several other guys all times. And they're blaring music. There's TV shit going on and they're smoking. It looks like joints and blunts. And who's there with them? USADA drug testing. USADA can't pop them for weed anymore. He can't pop, especially not Nate. Can't do it anymore. So Nate's just smoking. And what's hilarious about this guy is he's just covering his face for the camera. And I can't tell how mad Nate really is. Sometimes Nate and Nick, they love to antagonize people like that. Like, make them seem like they're really upset that you're around them, but they're just fucking with you. But you can't tell because they're like, this motherfucker, bro, this bitch right here won't leave me alone. I don't know how to take that as a joke, to be honest with you. But super real, just blowing smoke in his face. I mean, another organization is going to take that and make promo cuts from that. All right, we're nearing the end, which you know what that means. Fight video, but we got to talk about the upcoming fight card. UFC Fight Night in Paris. The first Fight Night in Paris. Ooh la la. Ciryl Gane versus Tai Tuivasa. Honestly, banger alert. Banger alert. Banger alert. I mean, I think this fight is going to set the... I'm setting the tone myself for Bigfoot Silva, Mark Hunt. You know, Ciryl Gane, does he have the chin to kind of put on that fight? I don't know. I've never really seen him tested. Tai Tuivasa is going to test him, though. Tai Tuivasa, does he have the cardio? I don't know. I mean, he seems to go 3 rounds pretty fine, to be honest with you. Now, does that mean in the 5th round, does he just flop? Maybe. I don't know. But I think he's been in a few 5-round fights as it is. I'll double check on that and put a little caption right there. But what does this fight mean? What does this fight mean? Ciryl Gane versus Tai Tuivasa. It means nothing. It means absolutely nothing. I'm assuming they're going to end up saying that whoever wins that fight gets to fight Ngannou again, but they don't even have anything worked out with Ngannou. When's Ngannou even going to fight again? You don't know. I don't know. Maybe some informers know. Maybe if Rick were here, he would know. I don't know. And let's talk about the co-main, Robert Whittaker versus Marvin Vittori. Marvin Vittori, Marvin Vittori. He is jumped up on my list as well because of how he treats Paulo Costa and also some of his other. He's just a good shit talker, a good Italian fighter. I've got a soft spot for like an actual Italian fighter in UFC. I feel like it's super rare, right? Like they don't promote any of those guys. Those guys aren't really big at all. There's no big Italian fighters. Marvin Vittori is the guy. But he's got a hell of a fucking... He's got these guys up here above him that are just next level. So he can just keep being the face. But I wish he would put it on more. I wish he would be more character-y Italian. It'd be great, right? I mean, why not? Connor does it. Patty does it. All the motherfuckers do that. Just be character-y. But that's going to be a tough fight. Honestly, I think more for Robert. I don't even know what if Robert Whittaker looks like he never wants to be there. He looks upset that he has to fight. Ever since he started losing fights, he's like, this sucks. Bro, I just want to hang out in Australia. In the Outback. Lots of other fights to look forward on that card, but the last one for me that I am interested in is John Makdessi versus... You pronounce that. But John Makdessi is a great fight. I thought John Makdessi was gone. He's got this like bull type face on him. He looks like he's like puffed out at all times, and he charge at you like this. That's how he looks like he would charge at you. But he's also got a crazy spinning back fist knockout. He's got a couple good big knockouts in the UFC. Tough as shit, gritty, in your face. So that's going to be an exciting one to look forward to. Big main card, to be honest with you. What's that? 6 fights all on the main card. Keep your eye on this one, because I think this is going to be a sleeper card. You heard it here first from Throwing Hands. Sleeper card, UFC Paris. We've talked about Jake Paul. We've talked about Logan Paul. We've talked about this upcoming card. We've talked about Nate Diaz. We've covered all our bases, but we haven't watched a street fight. This street fight, again, found by yours truly. I have no idea what they're arguing about. It seems like it could be road rage. It seems like it could be a family incident. It seems like it could be a mixed affair. But let's break it down. Let's watch it, and then let's watch it and break it down. So let's watch it first. Reese, hit play.
Why are you running away?
I'm calling the police. I will call the police.
I'm a long dick.
Ryan,
What's up, nigga?
cut it out.
He's so big.
Cut it out.
Let's go.
Hey!
One hit.
No!
One hit. One hit. One hit.
No, Brian, no!
One hit.
Yeah, for sure.
Get the fuck out of here, bitch. Get the fucking stuff.
Wow. I mean, That was awesome. I mean, everything about that was incredible. The shit talk. Did she call him a long dick motherfucker? I think that's what she said. She said, "You long dick." I'm like, so it is it is an affair type thing. I have no idea. It's really weird. Like, it's a really. I mean, I might have heard it wrong, but if you heard it, you let us know. But I mean, yeah. First of all, the guy gets out of the car and he is huge, right? I mean, for me, I was like, oh, here comes a dub. Here comes a dub for the black man. So let's watch it and break it down now. Okay, so let's watch it and break it down.
Why you running away?
So they're asking, why are you running away? It doesn't look like anybody running away. I thought he pulled out a gun, but it looks like he just pulled out them hands. Classic situation of a woman antagonizing situation. Don't call it, ref. This bitch trying to call the ref. Don't call it. Don't call it. Let him go. Goes with the classic quattro cunt. That's a classic move. And then Big Diesel comes out. Big E. Debo comes out of the car. And this, surprisingly, skinny white man. Woo! I'm with him. I'm with him on the celebration. That was slick. That was slick. Okay, go ahead and stop it. I mean, sizes up with him. Although they both have very nice fighting posture, we're gonna have to color him because we don't know any names or anything like that, right? So black man lines up with him, but he's got really wide stance, right? So he throws one punch, and you can see he throws one punch, misses, wings it, and he almost falls a little bit. Anybody who can fight a little bit knows, I've got this guy. I've got him. It's over. He only sized him up, and when you miss a punch in a street fight, don't know if you know this, it's happened to me. Lose all confidence pretty quickly. Oh, that was a knockout punch I threw, and it didn't work. And white man in the hat said, boop. It's that simple. Head movement, body movement. He kept straight with him, realized, saw the opening. The second his hands dropped, clapped him with the one hand. Was it the prettiest overhand right? It's pretty damn good. Pretty damn good. Best overhand right you'll see in that trailer park. So what's the lesson to learn from this street fight video? One, again, boxing wins every street fight. Jiu-jitsu wins every street fight first. Don't care what you say. Then boxing. Two, don't get out of the car. Don't get out of the car. Just go on about your day. It's so much easier. Sometimes you feel like if I keep driving right now, then the situation will follow me and I'll have to deal with it at another time. But realistically, it may not. And if you do, it may not to that point of violence that you think it is. Also, don't underestimate somebody. That guy was security guard giant. And that other guy looked like he was Kevin Federline's younger cousin. And he knocked his ass out. So be mindful. That's it for this episode of Throwing Hands Podcast. Guys, please make sure if you're watching this episode and you're watching anything here on the SuperSour Network, we implore you, please, anything you want to say in the comments. Let us know how you feel about it. Let us know how your day is going. Let us put the letter H in there and send it on through. We really appreciate any activity in the comments. If you want to support this channel and you don't want to have to spend money to do so, that's a free, easy way to help support us. Hit that like button. Comment down below anything you're thinking. F in the chat. Put F's in the chat. That's right. And hit the subscribe button if you want. Those are all free things you can do to help support a local podcast. But until next time, stay throwing them hands, boys. Welcome to Throwing Hands.
You know, you're playing touch butt with that dork in the park, the ponytail.
My balls was hot.